Constantly on the bleeding edge of the gaming world, you've grown tired of the conventional ways of enjoying video games. But luckily for you, with the future comes innovation, and now there is a brand new way for you to play your favorite video games in a way you've never experienced them before. Worse, video game board games are a very perplexing product line because they're basically competing against the very object they're based on. Should I buy this cool video game where its board game counterparts rings the same feel as should I eat this pasta linguine with a fork or drink it through a straw? But they aren't pointless. Fans of these titles might get a kick out of seeing their favorite series represented in a brand new way. So let's go through the surprisingly extensive world of video game board games to see the best, worst, and weirdest options on the market. Starting off with games from the modern age, let's look at one of the most talked about series in the space right now. I never said what they were saying was good. Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Robot Tea Party. Borderlands TTRTP sees players attempt to take their Claptrap model and outfit him with the right parts to match his main theme. Players can add parts to their own or an opponent's model to sabotage, and can play action cards to help give them an edge. The first player to complete their Claptrap wins. This game is extremely simple, and is meant to be a title that you can just pick up and go, with easy rules and a short playtime. As a result, it falls prey to the simple game negatives. It's not very deep, and can get locked into a spot where you keep drawing until you get a specific card that you need. But if you need to distract a couple Borderlands fans, it could be a good filler game. That's really all I have time to say on that bad boy. For one, there's not really a lot to talk about, and for two, got a lot to cover. Fallout. The Fallout board game sees players venture into various stories as they travel a wasteland, exploring, fighting, and building up their character. As the game progresses, players will attempt to complete their agendas to earn influence in the wasteland, and the game ends once one player earns the right amount of influence or if one of the game's factions gains enough power to take control. This game is violently complicated. The mechanics are so deep that not only does the game work as a single-player experience, but the players say that it works best as a single-player experience. When you play Fallout, you will be running around a specific storyline as the game progresses. As the story runs, in the background, random encounters and hidden agendas will spice up the gameplay, with mechanics like radiation, leveling up, advanced combat, special traits, perks, enemies, items, companions, and other things carried over from the game. This game has had a ton of thought and effort poured into it to bring the feel of the games to the table. And I would hope so, because this darn thing is actually more expensive than Fallout 4 was on launch. Not to make assumptions, I think you might get more bang for your buck with the original. But since Fallout is a single-player game, this might be your best option for roaming the wasteland with your friends. At least, if you're looking to do it without being shaken down for every penny along the way. Speaking of microtransactions, Six Siege, the board game, sees Ubisoft try to take the high-speed tactical team first-person shooter and somehow turn it into a functional board game. Players pick their 5 operatives, then try to complete their team's objective to win. Look at this video game. How did somebody look at this and go, yes, this, but on a table? What would a good board game version of this style of game even look like? Well, I've got an example for you. It's this one, because apparently this game is absolutely amazing. From what I've seen, they managed to take mechanics like line of sight, destructible environments, crouching and leaning, different specialist roles, team movement, and an in-game round timer that uses an app, and mash all of that together into what some people are claiming to be one of the best board games in the genre. The components are also really high quality, so when you put together great gameplay, great balance, and great components, how does that turn into 381 1 out of 10 reviews on Board Game Geek? The answer? The poison screwing over your players. See, this game wasn't made by Ubisoft. Instead, a company called Mythic Games acquired the rights from Ubisoft to crowdfund the game when it started. And after raising over $1 million, more than 10 times their set goal, they got to work putting it together. Some time goes by and... Hey guys, quick update. The game is getting there. Everything's cool, looking good. Small problem, we need more money. I know that we raised 10 times the amount we need, but the war has almost doubled the cost of cardboard. And when you do math, you know, that's like all the money. But, we've got a solution. You fine fellows simply pledge again based on your original pledge level. For instance, if you gave us $269 the first time, you just need to pledge another $129 and they'll be back again. Also, if you don't want to pay this, that's fine. You just aren't going to get the gaming card. Also, I know that you guys already paid for shipping, but you will need to pay for shipping. Cents. But if you don't want in on this hot action, that's fine too. Have an in-depth and highly functional refund process that you can. Yeah, you're not. But that's our latest update. Be sure to follow us on social media, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, seeing as the backers were basically having the working out ransom, they didn't have the nicest thing to say about the company, which is where all the negative reviews came from, as many people understandably thought that this entire game was a massive scam. Alright, I spent way too much time on the Siege debacle, so let's up the pace on these a little bit so I can get to the real wonky stuff. Guilty Gear Strive. Oh, never mind, we're already here. Guilty Gear Strive, the board game, sees players select their favorite Guilty Gear and duke it out with their opponent in a 1v bout. Players use cards to gain force and attack their opponents. Whoever drops the opponent's life to 0 wins. The general consensus is that the game is really good at transferring the gameplay of Guilty Gear into a board game. Each character coming with their own deck of moves tailored to their playstyle and a fast-paced combat card mechanic that rewards predicting their opponent's moves. It does this by using the Exceed fighting system style of gameplay. So if you're a fan of those titles, you should have fun. However, some have taken issue with the game's components, with particular ires for the cards using screenshotted depictions of moves that can be dark and blurry, and the box being unreasonably huge for what's included. Speaking from experience, yeah, that can get pretty annoying. Build a farm and fish for fish in Stardew Valley. I watched my friend play it once. I have no idea what that game's about. Stardew Valley, the board game, is a cooperative. Oh, if I'm not at my friend's throat, it's not game night, buddy, where players work together to try to restore the community center and achieve your grandpa's goals before you run out of time. Players will divvy up tasks like farming, fishing, and exploring, all while gaining new skills and people. Once the seasons are over, everyone either wins or loses, depending on if the tasks have been completed. This title has earned praise from both fans of the game and newcomers. Strengths including how much it feels like playing the actual game, how the seasonal events shake up interesting, and how surprisingly challenging the game can be. But some are less welcome, saying that with most of the actions being determined by dice rolls, it feels like you are never truly in control of how well you are doing, making the gameplay frustrating. Everyone agrees that this is a great representation of Stardew Valley. It just depends on whether you think it's a board. Slay the Spire. Oh, come on now, this is cheating. The game is literally a deck builder. It's practically already a board game. I'm not even going to cover this one, because there is really only one thing that I need to report to you. 8.8 average rating on Board Game Geek on 2,700 rating. I have never seen a score this high. When I look at game scores, half the time I think the people on this site just hate board games. That should tell you everything you need to know about this one. Some people are even claiming that the physical version might be better than the video game it's based on. Which, one, is absolutely insane, and two, yeah, it better be if they're charging $115 for it. That is not only 4 times more than the video game, but also is enough money to buy 5.47 copies of Say Penguin. And I'm not one to tell you how to spend your money, but Kowalski with a hat. Minecraft Portal Rush. Before you get your hopes up, Herobrine is not a boss in this game, you're out of 10. NPR is another cooperative game where you and your teammates try to work together to fight off mobs and escape the nether. Mine, fight, and move. Fix the portal to escape, you win the game. Portal Rush's standout feature is the Resource Cube, a cube comprised of blocks that you can mine from throughout the game. Mining from the resource block nets you certain benefits depending on the color, and in addition, you will need to give a certain amount of blocks to the piglins in order to receive the obsidian that you need to prepare the portal. But be careful, as each turn a block is removed from the cube, and if the cube runs out, you lose the game. So not only is it your main resource block, it is also your game timer. Oh, we're just merging all kinds of crap now.
Why did you put it there?
Fork now doubles as the dice. Jokes aside, this is a really cool idea. The game is chock full of stellar ideas that really get you invested in the race to get out of this thing.
I lose this.
Just like most of the other modern video game board games, that this one is another good title. Unfounded. We've seen nothing but winner after winner. I went into this expecting some truly baffling products, but other than how to run an effective Kickstarter, it seems like everyone has figured out how to make a good video game board game. So instead of looking at the new releases, what if we went back to a time when the formula wasn't set in stone? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to the Wild West of video game board games and look at some of the classics that shape the landscape. It's Frogger! Yes, let's see some whack crack, baby! Woo! 1981's Frogger is a duel between two players as they try to make it to the other side of the first that can squish their frog. On your turn, roll the dice and move your frogs and obstacles to take the advantage. First player to get 3 frogs across wins. We are looking live at a version of Frogger, a 1v1 bout in the most ancient of forms. This is the type of contest that determines a form. The main gripe that people have about the Frogger board game is just how dull it is. Crazy how slowly moving a frog back and forth could possibly grow tiresome, I know. Although it being pretty simple to pick up could make it a good game for kids that enjoy the video game. But seeing as the game is 43 years old now, those might be in short supply. Donkey Kong from 1981. Oh, what is going on this box? What happened to Mario? He looks like he's about to shrivel into nothing. Pauline looks slightly inconvenienced at most, and can you battle Donkey Kong and save the fair maiden? If these demons running around, that's all you, bud. Donkey Kong sees 2 to 4 players try to make it to the top of the structure to rescue Pauline, all while jumping over or hammering barrels that Kong sends down to score points. The game ends once Pauline is rescued. The player with the most points wins. I still can't get over how disgusting this Mario is. He looks like a pickle that was left out in the sun. Movement in Donkey Kong is determined by the dice. One die is rolled for your Mario to move, and the other is rolled to move the barrels or fireballs around. If one of these obstacles is coming at you, you'll need to play a card to avoid it, which you can get by landing on a red dot and will earn you points once they're used. One cool part about this game is that your total points are kept secret from the other players, so unless they've remembered how many you have, they could end up rescuing Pauline for a victory. The only other noteworthy
God damn it, this guy's going for it.
Massive, which is on purpose, as you can load the barrels into his arm and drop them on the board, which is a cool touch. Sonic the Hedgehog game. In Sonic the Hedgehog game, you take control of the blue blur as you try to maneuver through the stages to stop the evil Dr. Robotnik. Along the way, you can spin dash and fight badniks while enjoying these special stages for more rings. Whoever has the most rings when Robotnik is defeated wins. What's crazy about this game is that all players take turns moving the same Sonic the Hedgehog token. So you're basically playing a game where the person you are trying to beat is yourself. Sonic fighting his inner demons. Which one will come out on top? If you want to win this game, you need to be the player to reach the special stages. There are so many rings to be grabbed there, and if you let the other players take them, you will be left in the dust. Also, wow, Eggman looks weird without his shades on. I am not a fan at all. Super Mario Bros. This 1988 title plays exactly like the Sonic game. Players taking turns controlling one normal-looking Mario as they try to make it through 4 worlds to rescue Peach. Players will place enemies and obstacles in each other's way to hamper progress, but the first player to reach the end and defeat Bowser wins. Moving in the game comes down to dice. You can either roll a number or color to advance, but if you roll stop or get hit by an enemy, your turn is up. One exception to this, though, is when you have 4 coins, as if you have 4, you can trade them in when your turn ends to keep going. There is no limit to the amount of coins that you can have, and there is no limit to the times you can trade them in on one turn. Can't get enough Mario? Well, try your hand at the Super Mario Bros. Block-busting card game. I did it! Super Mario Bros. Blockbusting card game is very simple. When it's your turn, you jump on one of the 6 piles with your Mario or Luigi and draw the top card, which will either carry coins or a negative effect. The first player to reach the required number of coins wins. There is 1 ounce of gameplay in this that isn't just pick a random card. You need to return coins or negative effects back to the pile. You choose which one those cards go to the bottom of. So memorizing the placement of these bad cards could help prevent you from drawing into them again. Other than that, completely random. But hey, who needs strategy when you're hanging out with all your favorite Mario pals? There's Mario, Luigi, Princess Toadstool, Bowser, Mort from Mario 2, Bowser from, the show? Boom Boom, specifically Little Goomba, Bullet William, Bo Bong, and the Mushroom Retainer. Toad has lost name privileges. We only refer to him by his job title now. And I can see why. The Mushroom Retainer only has one effect. It forces you to keep the card, and as long as you have it, you can't win the game. That right there is the face of evil. Street Fighter 2 with extra large dimensional game board. What does that even mean? Whoa! Street Fighter 2 sees players move around the 3D game board in order to engage in battles to strengthen their character. With every bout won, your character gets stronger, and when you think you are strong enough, storm General M. Bison's fortress to defeat him and take the title of the greatest Street Fighter. This game isn't too complex. You pick your fighter and then move around the board trying to win fights by rolling higher than your opponent. The stronger you are, the more dice you can roll. A big reason why the board is so huge is because they want you to play the game with your Street Fighter action figures, sold separately. So this board also doubles as a playmat for kids as well. You know, one thing that I think most people have forgotten is just how massive Pac-Man was at its peak. 2 people wrote a song just about playing Pac-Man, and it topped at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. People were fiending for some action. As such, there were a lot of video game board games based around the Pac-Man license, the most disturbing of which definitely being 1982's Pac-Man game. Looks like a pretty normal game to me. What's the matter? Whoa! A real nasty looking fella, you know that? Pac-Man game sees players move their Pac creature through the maze collecting pellets and avoiding ghosts. Use the dice and your wits to choose the best path through and take the power pellets to fight back against the ghosts. The player with the most pellets at the end wins. As horrifying as the Pac demons are, they look that way for a reason. Because when you move the man, you can have him gobble up the pellets while you are moving, making it feel like he's actually moving like in the game. And while the game is simple, there's a twinge of competitive strategy, as you need to balance keeping your man safe from ghosts while trying to get your opponent with them, so that you can take the pellets. Especially since if they eat a ghost with a power pellet, they can take pellets from you. Simple, entertaining, and fun. Everything a good video game board game should be. Now what about a game that is the opposite of that? Complicated, frustrating, and cruel. Ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon Master Trainer. Pokemon Master Trainer is the 1999 game that sees players travel through the Kanto region while training, battling, and catching the various Mon on their quest to be the very best. Whoever can travel to the Indigo Plateau and defeat a member of the Elite Four first will become the new Pokemon Champion. Master Trainer has a lot of appeal for Pokemon fans, partially due to its depth, as it allows you to catch 150 of Kanto's finest creatures to add to your collection. On top of that, there are tons of items that will assist you on your travels, so the loop of catching and improving your Pokemon team will certainly become addicting as the game goes on. But where Pokemon Master Trainer gets its reputation is from its difficulty, as it contains some mechanics that make getting strong enough to take on the best quite rough, and on top of that, even your very best might not be good enough for those at the top. Some of the cards carry absolutely crazy effects, like the one that forces a trade with another player that they can't refuse. But where the game really ups the pain is in the endgame, as in order for the game to finish, someone is going to need to beat one of the elite trainers awaiting you for the final battle. These guys are supposed to be the best of the best, and after getting your teeth kicked in, battle after battle, you are going to know why. These guys are absurdly strong. In the Jawitz video covering the game, he determined that with some of the best Pokemon and some of the best bonus cards, with the best possible roll of 6, you are looking at a maximum battle power of around 23. But if you get screwed and draw Gary as the rival to beat, he only needs to roll a 2 or higher to beat your maximum possible score. Imagine a 10-year-old just banging their head against this impossible challenge, wondering why nothing is working. Poor guy is being tortured in real time. But regardless of the impossible challenge, being given the opportunity to go on a Pokemon adventure with your friends has led the game to have a cult following. Which just goes to show that no matter how hard or unfair it is, as long as your game is fun, people will enjoy it. Man, what a sappy finale to the classic games. I can't end on that. But I've covered both.
I forgot I used full-less material.
What else could there possibly be to take inspiration from? Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call from mine. That's it! Mobile game board games. What, you thought they didn't exist? Buddy, where there's money, the tie-ins will follow. Now, the executives have at least a smidgen of respect for themselves, as while there are a good amount of these products, they appear to have only made board game versions of good mobile games. So don't expect to see something like Shrek Twerk Battle Duel on here. Nevertheless, I would have never fathomed the idea of some of these apps as functional board games. So let's see how good of a job they did bringing the best games in your pocket out to the table. Angry Birds, Knock on Wood. Knock on Wood sees players construct various structures that they will try to knock down by shooting their birds off the slingshot. Knocking down the tower will award a certain number of points based on the difficulty, and the player with the most points after a certain number of rounds wins. The Angry Birds game is probably the most accurate to the source material, as it has you physically shoot birds at structures to knock them down. So it is nearly a one-to-one translation from the game to the table. This one isn't going to win any awards, it's just build structure then destroy it over and over again. But hey, for what it is, it makes you feel like you're playing a competitive Angry Birds game. My biggest gripe with the game, though, is that the slingshot is one solid piece that operates more like a catapult. So on top of losing that Angry Birds pullback feel, it is really hard to shoot this thing with any amount of power and consistency. Chalk that up to a skill issue if you want, though. I could just be mad it's bad. Candy Crush the board game. I've checked, you cannot spend 99 cents to try the game again if you lose. Addicts rejoice. Candy Crush the board game takes the red-hot action of trying to clear the board of candies, and tasks players to add a bunch of them to their board. Wait a minute. Players roll dice to either add candy to their board to create a candy bridge, or add to their opponent's board to try to match 3 and clear their candy bridge. The first one to use their candies to reach the middle of the board wins. Aside from the whole turning the game's objective on its head thing, this bad boy claims to be a game of tactics and strategy. And while choosing when to attempt to sabotage your opponent's bridge could come with some strategic timing, most of the time you'll be relying on the luck of the dice to help you go straight with it. I think this review of the game from Third Strike sums it up best. The good? Presentation. The bad? Bland, slow, useless mechanics, overall feeling of a cash grab. To be fair, it is Candy Crush. They could have shaken you down for more. Disney's Where's My Water? Good lord, remember that game? In Disney's Where's My Water, players will build a drop puzzle where they will need to try to get water marbles past obstacles and into Swampy's bathtub. Players will get a bonus point for every yellow marble they hit along the way, but will lose a point for every toxic marble as well. Whoever has the most points when all the marbles are dropped wins a card, and whoever gets 3 cards first wins the game. It's really just Plinko with extra steps, but the Where's My Water game managed to do Plinko better than the official Price is Right game. I'm furious. This game has a good amount of replayability to it. It doesn't take very long to play, and you can always craft your own challenging levels to spice things up. Pretty solid stuff here, not too deep, and could be pretty fun to play, especially with kids. It even gives you some tips and tricks for the Where's My Parry app as well. Crank up that score, this one's going right to the top. Cut the rope. What you do in Cut the Rope is players will set up an obstacle layout based on cards, and attempt to collect as many stars as they can get and get the candy into Om's mouth without hitting any hazards. Players will do this by using the slider to slide the candy across the table. The first player to get 18 points wins. Hey, I think we're missing a couple pieces, mainly the entire game's namesake. There's no cut here, there's no rope here, I doubt there's even any the. They splurged on transferring the notable cast and obstacles, but forgot to include the gosh dang title. Don't get me wrong, the game is fine and functional, but this is not cut the rope. This is slide the candy. I can understand why they did this. Making a board game that stays true to the fluid rope-cutting gameplay of the app is practically impossible. But if you're unable to feasibly make a cut-the-rope board game, don't try to make a cut-the-rope board game. But darn it, there's money to be made here, and we're not gonna let something as small as feasibility stand in the way of some big bucks. I don't care how many things need to be cut, make that Temple Run board game happen now. Temple Run Danger Chase. In this title, players will be frantically rolling dice in order to avoid obstacles and the demon monkey for as long as possible. Whoever is the last explorer standing wins. This game needs to do two things well in order to do the Temple Run name right. One, it needs to operate well as an endless runner, and two, it needs to catch the frantic pace that game has. And surprisingly, it manages to do them both. The chase can technically go on forever, as once everyone is off one board, it flips and moves to the front to keep the chase moving. While the game is endless by definition, the speed of the monkey ensures that
Can my opponent stop decking infinite
You don't
impermanence?
need to be faster than the monkey. You just need to be faster than your friends. This title also nails the frantic pace of the game thanks to the electronic turn timer idle. Since if you don't finish rolling your dice and moving by the time it is up, you lose. Movement works with the 5 dice. You can roll these as many times as you want, but if they land on a skull, that die is locked. Once you accept the result, you must move your guy for every run icon and move the monkey for every skull. And I hope that you counted your spaces right, because if you land in a pit, then you lose. The game also comes with power-ups from the app, like Angel Wings that can save your life once, and a speed that can double your movement. And all of this comes together to create a very hectic experience similar to the app. Alright, Temple Run, great work there, proving that an endless runner can work as a board game. Now that we know it's possible, do we have any other members of the genre who would also like to give it a shot? Oh, pardon me, I didn't know the GOAT would be in attendance. Jetpack Joyride. This 2019 title is a real-time competitive puzzle game. Yep, that sure is a combination of words, where players compete to see who can make it through the lab first by forging a block path to avoid obstacles. The first player to make it through the lab ends the round, and whoever has the most points after the third round wins. The best way I can describe this game is bananagrams with a machine gun jetpack. In order to make it through the lab, you'll need to take the right tiles from the middle to chart your path. But everyone else has their own puzzle to solve and gets their tiles from the same place. So it is going to be a mad dash to see who can solve their unique puzzle not only the quickest, but while grabbing the most amount of coins and finishing the most missions. There's a catch-up mechanic too. At the end of each round, each player gets to pick one of 4 iconic gadgets from the game to add to their berry. And whoever got the least amount of points from the last round picks first. So selecting your gadget wisely could give you the boost you need to get back to the game. Jetpack Joyride may have dropped the Endless Runner gameplay from the original, but did it to double down on the hectic nature of the game, creating an experience that is extremely stressful but requires you to remain calm if you're going to find the way through and beat your competitors. Incredible, 2 Endless Runner games putting out a great product in a row. You know, maybe this is just the right genre for board games. To make sure though, let's look at one more. Subway Surfers, the board game. This is not the right genre for board games. Subway Surfers, the board game, sees you try to dodge, jump, and roll past obstacles while collecting power-ups and coins. The player who collects the most coins when the obstacle deck runs dry is the winner. So this one is weird, as the original game was a reaction-based endless runner, and that has been transitioned into a slow-moving finite resource manager. What in the world are we doing here? The main game of Subway Surfers goes like this. On your turn, you can either use one of your cards to move or draw a track card to move obstacles forward. And as the game progresses, more of the board will become crowded with obstacles that you will need to avoid. The problem is that in order for you to avoid obstacles, you will need to have the right movement card, which you draw at random. So no amount of preparation is going to save you from a run of unlucky draws. The power-ups from the game are here, and they all carry really cool effects. What you are really going after are coins, because those determine who wins the game. Yes, you would think like in the Temple Run game it would be last man standing, but no. When you are knocked out, on your next turn, you can spend 2 coins or 1 key to get back into the game, making this the first mobile game board game to incorporate the mechanic of spending money to continue playing. With how slow the obstacles move forward too, only moving 1 lane at a time, 1 card at a time, this game is not going to carry the fast-paced action that the app has, making this closer to a Subway paddleboard, if anything. That's a nice bad game right there, but if we're gonna end this journey right, we need something real goofy looking. Something that just screams, now how did you come up with that one? While still being based around one of the most popular apps of the 2010s. And I've got just the product for that. Who's ready to run some Fruit Ninja? Those swords better be real. Fruit Ninja Slice of Life game pits 2 players against each other in a test of speed and memory, as when they receive their fruit mission, they will need to slice the correct fruit face up before their opponent can, while avoiding the bombs. First player to do it right wins the card. Whoever wins the set amount of cards is crowned the ultimate Fruit Ninja. This thing is a memory game, a speed game, and a hitting things with a blunt object game all rolled into one. It's everything you could ever want. Now, granted, you could simply use the sword to flip the fruit over to see what's underneath, but if you're not hitting it as hard as you can on the edge to flip it the cool way, then you have no place in this dojo. This is one massive gimmick, and it knows it. It's not trying to be some grand $300 fruit-based adventure spanning alternate universes looking for Sensei's killer. Take this sword, smack the table with it, and have some fun. And sometimes that's all a video game board game needs to be. And can we really say that something like the Fruit Ninja Slice of Life game is worse than, say, Slay the Spire, when they're clearly aiming to be different things? Well, I mean, yeah, but when they want me to spend $115 on a board game, buddy, it's ninja time. Signing off for a Mandarin Menace, I am Cam Sandwich. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. A special thank you to my suppliers, staff, and chefs over at the deli. If you'd like to join the crew, you can take a look using the link in the description below.
I'm always winning the coin toss, huh?
is Yu-Gi-Oh's largest archetype. With Yu-Gi-Oh! Reaching its quarter-century anniversary, 25 years worth of card releases have come and gone. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is on its 8th incarnation, with each new zesty-haired protagonist ushering in their own crop of Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks and archetypes. And with each passing year, seemingly pushing the boundaries of what can be legally printed on a Yu-Gi-Oh! card, and Power Creep pushing even the most successful strategies back into the depths of your card binder, Konami has slowly trickled out support for the franchise's most iconic decks, in an attempt to keep them shelf-stable. What results is a slowly inflating list of archetypal cards that would make even the most ardent trickle-down economist blush. So, let's rifle through the said cards to find the largest Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype. First order of business to find Yu-Gi-Oh's largest archetype is to determine what is an archetype. For starters, the most simple definition of an archetype, as defined by the folks over in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is, well, the cards gotta have the same. This would mean decks like My Valentine's Harpies, as well as powerful strategies like Sword Soul would make the cut. This realm, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5's Yuya Sakaki makes a strong showing with his Performapal deck, with a staggering 94 individual monster cards that share the Performapal name. But looking at the card catalog of Performapal monsters reveals a wrinkle in our strategy. Some cards, like Last Minute Cancel, which has the effect to return any Performapal monster you control that is destroyed by battle or card effect to the hand, do not have the Performapal naming convention, yet have effects that explicitly mention and strategize with the Performapal strategy. So I called up a few friends in high places, and I got the Merriam-Webster Dictionary definition eroded to the cards have to include the same name, or mention that name in their effects. With this updated definition, we can unveil the true king of all archetypes, the largest archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, Heroes. The staggering 250 cards to the archetype's name, completely lapping the second place Performapals. Part of what makes the hero archetype so large is the fact that it branches off into many smaller sub-archetypes. Fans of the anime should know that the main protagonist, Jaded Yuki, has his elemental heroes, but Heroes encompasses a number of character decks like Astro Phoenix's Destiny Heroes as well as Vision Heroes. Oh, and as the anime goes on, Jaded begins toying around with the Full Heroes and the less aptly named Neospacians. Oh, and there also exists modern support for the hero cards exclusive to the trading card game, the Extra Heroes, which further adds to the rampant and reckless hero body count. On the other hand, it makes sense that an archetype as old and achy as the Heroes would have built up such a large repertoire, what with nearly 20 years of support doled out. So surely it follows that Dark Magician and Blue Eyes, originating with the founding Yu-Gi-Oh! Set and starter decks, would have racked up hundreds of cards by now. But in a cruel twist of constant Konami advertising malpractice, most iconic decks that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise has championed, both are critically understaffed. In fact, pulling up Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel reveals that Dark Magician only has about 66 cards available to be played, while his rival, the Blue Eyes White Dragon, or in this case, quote-unquote, Blue Eyes, has only 59 cards to his name.
You know what?
Turns out
I'll
we
go
can break the
second.
rules even further and stretch the
Let's see how
definition
that
of the archetype
works.
to find even larger fish in the permutation of cards. For example, the last 10 years worth of card releases, Konami has been experimenting with expanded lore sets for their cards and archetypes. For example, the 2020s saw the release of the Fallen of Albaz series of cards, an expanded world and story told exclusively through the progressive release of new sets and their expressive card arts, tying in the likes of, bear with me here, Sword Soul, Ice Jade, Sprinkins, Tri-Brigade, Dogmatica, Mystials, okay, you get the point. But what's interesting to us is how interconnected the archetypes are. For example, the main archetype, Branded, centers around the monster Fallen of Albaz and all of his fusions. However, if you were to look up Branded, only about 30 individual cards can be found. However, if you were to look up Fallen of Albaz, you'd generate a list of about 41 cards. Suddenly, our definition of an archetype begins to fall apart. Despite marrying to the Springans family, Tri-Brigade Kit's lore-based retrained Springans kit somehow searches for Brandon spell instead of Springen. Tri-Brigade Mercurier doesn't have the words Tri-Brigade or Brandon printed anywhere in his effect, and instead refers solely to Fallen of Albath. Yet he is a staple in Brandon deck lists everywhere. Luckily, with Brandon being such a new archetype and his run of support finishing up with its own in-lore anime send-off episode, the total count of Branded or Fallen of Albath or Abyss lore cards doesn't quite reach the heights of the heroes, at least for now. But stretching the definition of an archetype to its absolute maximum, we can look to the historical use of archetype and deck to generate the true king of all archetypes. Because back in the mid to late 2000s, the most powerful deck of its time was Chaos, an archetype whose diversity and inclusion policies were truly ahead of their time, as all light and dark monsters, and even a few guys who were just a little too good at milling, call themselves Chaos Monsters. It has seen many variations, from Dad to Chaos Dragons to modern support like Chaos Angel, and even though they lack the Chaos name, members of the not-so-inclusive club include the likes of Draco, Lightsworn Hunter, Cyber Valley, and even the Earth monster Card Trooper. With over 1,700 light monsters, and around about 1,100 dark monsters, almost half of Yo's 11,000 cards are members of the illustrious Chaos archetype, making it the largest archetype in history. Look, if you listen this far, you gotta leave a like and maybe even subscribe.
That's all 3 Salamandrites. Why? I meant to put down Forbidden Droplet. Whatever, I'm just gonna surrender. My megaliths are not working anymore. My pet deck! After 4 wins in a row, I finally lose.
Primal Origin was released
Duelist Alliance was released in August 2014. This set introduced Pendulum Monsters, a series of cards that can be used either as monster cards or spell cards and can help swarm the field through the pendulum summoning mechanic. Notable cards in this set include Artifact Lancia, Satellar Knight Deneb, El Shaddai Winda, Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, and a brand new rank 4 Xyz that would become a staple in extra decks for years to come, Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. In this series, both Nimnim and myself will be opening 24 booster packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. We will build a deck and play a best 2 out of 3, and the winner will receive a small prize to upgrade their deck. However, in each episode, we will open another box of the next set that was released, moving in chronological order, constantly upgrading our decks before dueling each other at the end of each episode. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Ladies and gentlemen, happy 1-year anniversary for the Progression Series. This is so exciting. I can't believe it was just a year ago that we embarked on this journey together, and what a roller coaster it has been. We really appreciated all the support for the series, you guys, and we wanted to celebrate, but I went to several different stores to try to find a hat for this episode. I couldn't find one, but instead, I actually found myself this bow. So I guess I'm wearing this for the episode because apparently party hats are in short supply moving forward, but this is going to be a phenomenal episode. Duelist Alliance, one of the best sets in the history, if not the best set in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is going to be a very big episode. We still have to spin the wheel. We haven't even gotten to the wheel part, and I'm already thinking about Duelist Alliance and all the crazy stuff we have to pull in there. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel, see what we can get. Hopefully we're going to get something good here, and of course it's going to be those Astral Packs. So 3 packs of Astral Pack 4 coming right up. I believe next episode we will be on Astral Pack 5. First up, this is actually pretty big. Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo is a very strong stun card if we ever wanted to go that route. Slightly bigger than a barrier statue. It doesn't care about attributes at all. This is a very nice common. I would like to pull multiple of this if I could. This is just something that was a secret rare before, so it was almost impossible to get, and that's a very nice start here. So Pachycephalo is a good one. Let's go into the second. Shut the fuck up! No way! Are you fucking kidding me? Gage, I'm so sorry. Maxi, baby, let's go! I knew this was going to be a big episode, you guys, but this is just the icing on the cake. Maxi! Oh my god, Gage is going to be pissed. You know what? This is fair. He pulled a Dandelion. I can pull an Ultimate Rare too, so I am so happy to add that to my collection. Let's flip up the third pack. I don't know how it could get any better than this, and you know what? Super Rare Swift Scarecrow, we'll take it. But man, what a great way to kick off this episode. But let's hand it on over to Gage so he can tell you all about Duelist Alliance.
Ladies and gentlemen, has it been a year already? Oh my goodness, where has the time gone? And what a way to celebrate our first year of the Progression Series with a set that makes me very, very excited. Duelist Alliance, baby, we've all been waiting for it. What a hell of a set, dude! And to mark off a year of the Progression Series, you got to tune in every week to catch us. We're going to show off one of the greatest sets of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. A lot of people would like to think it's one of the best, if not the best set ever released. I remember it like it was yesterday, dude. August 15th, 2014. This set changed Yu-Gi-Oh! For the next few years, I want to say. Duelist Alliance added a whole bunch of support cards to already existing archetypes. Some more performance pound cards made their way up here. They don't get real good until Breakers from Shadows, though, which is actually right around the corner. Super Happy Samurai's got a couple more dudes, who cares? And then the Melodiouses, they have some kind of soft lock going on, but they're not very good. Nobody cares. The real stuff is the first archetype of 3 that's really good is Satellar Knight. An archetype filled with level 4 monsters that all have triggers when they're summoned. That's special summon, normal summon, any type of summon, they get a trigger. Deneb's the most powerful, being able to add any Talonite monster from deck to hand. Vega gets special one from hand, Altair from grave, and a Nuclear High is a foolish burial for them. So they all work together to get multiple level 4s on the field to then make rank 4 Xyz. Then you have another one that everybody's familiar with, those Shaddals, baby. Look at all these crazy Shaddal rares. You got Falco, Dragon, and Beast, and then you have Common, Hedgehog, and Squamata.
The thing is, for Progression Series, we're locked behind the fact that Shaddoll Fusion is a super rare. If we don't get a fusion monster, like El Shaddoll Construct or El Shaddoll Winda, and if we don't get the Shaddoll Fusion,
I'm an idiot.
we can't play Shaddolls. Yangzing's another thing. I guess it was more than 3 archetypes, but Yangzing really didn't actually do too much in the metagame. Full archetype, just something that's not playable for us because it's locked behind a rarity barrier. Lancia, common card in this set too, meta-defining card. Back in the day, this actually wasn't played that much, but nowadays, pretty much a staple. Better have your artifact Lancias. Was talking about the Shaddoll fusions. We got El Shaddoll Winda and Construct, the first 2. Both of these absolutely stable.
I'll play one more game.
Construct was on the ban list for a long time, just recently coming off. And then Winda is still a meta today. People say Winda could get banned. Card's just too good, man. Too good. Castel, an incredible generic rank, or one to rival that of Silent Honor Arc, because you can actually just shuffle the Silent Honor Arc back, because this one doesn't destroy. Shaddoll Fusion was the first fusion card in a long time to really shake things up, and that you can fuse from deck. Absolutely staple defining card. You still see it today as one of the greatest fusion cards of all time. All fusion spells that were going to be any fusion spell had to be compared to that of Shaddoll Fusion. It was just that good. I'm almost done, but there's just so much to talk about in this set. The Monarch Stormforth is an incredible quick play spell card for Monarchs. It's like a quick play Soul Exchange, which is pretty good. And on top of that, if those archetypes weren't enough, we actually got a brand new TCG exclusive archetype, Burning Abyss, with most powerful ones being released initially here. Dante, Seer Graph, and Scarm. All these cards are integral to play at the max quantities. They're the best, and they were the initial ones released. Hell of a way to kick off the archetype here. UAs is something pretty cool, but it's not something I don't think I'm consider yet. And it ends up that wasn't enough, dude. That's actually just maybe about it. Fellas was also a really hell of a card, and Panzer Dragon was a really cool instant fusion target. But set is just absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to crack open 24 packs of it. But first, we gotta visit our pity pack. I don't need anything else from this set. I got that ulti dandy, except I just need a common. Common Lone Fire. Is it that hard to get a common? I've been neglected this entire time in the Progression Series, a singular Lone Fire. This is going to be my last chance to get it. Please get it. We'll go one by one. Oh, Swiss character. Very cool. Yes. Yes! Lone Fire! Oh, man, it's a reasoning. Dope, baby. Add it to the online collection. I'll take a Lone Fire. It's already a good opening. Great start to the greatest set in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Alright, now that the pity party's out of the way, hope you guys got your big boy pants on. Duelist Alliance, let's go, dude. 24 packs. This could be a game changer. Let's see how lucky we get.
Alright, you guys, 24 packs of Duelist Alliance. Gage and I have been hyping up this episode for quite some time, but this set single-handedly shifted Yu-Gi-Oh! In a completely different direction, and I think for the better. There's so many things to love about this set. I cannot wait to crack open these packs because there's so many different directions we can go, but we won't know until we actually open the packs. So first pack up, let's see what we get. And not a great start. Well, second pack is a little bit better. We did get a secret rare, although it's a secret rare I don't think we're really going to be using. It's Magical Spring. This is a neat card, but for the purposes of the Progression Series, it might be a little bit niche. Panzer Dragon's a very good one, though. This card is actually an instant fusion and Magical Sciences target by extension. If it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. This turns instant fusion into spot removal at the end of the turn, effectively. There's a lot of cool things we can do with this card, so this may make its way into the extra deck. And following that up, we have our first super rare Suwani Fire of the Yang Zing. Now, all of the Yang Zings, I believe, came in at super rare in the set minimum, so I don't think Yang Zings are too viable. We did get a Shaddoll Falco and a Shaddoll Hedgehog, however. A lot of the Shaddolls are common. There are a few. I believe it's Falco, Dragon, and Beast are rare, so there's several of them. We're going to need to pull a lot if we want to get a decent Shaddoll core. That's probably going to be the hardest part to build if we do want to play this deck, but some of the Shaddoll cards just by themselves are generically strong enough that we might just play them anyway. There's our first Burning Abyss card, Scarm, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. Now, Scarm, Graph, and Seer all debuted in this set, as well as Dante, of course. We already got a secret rare Magical Spring. Not that it's unlikely we could get multiple secrets, but it's pretty unlikely, and all of these are rares, so I'm not sure how viable this strategy would be. Neither of us got Tour Guide either, but pretty okay rare.
Alright, pack number 1, baby, of one of the greatest sets in all of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Duelist Alliance. Let's go. Nothing great out of it. Oh man, look at that pack. That's already insane. You can see some of the cool stuff. Lancia in the common slot, great to have. Shaddoll Dragon is an awesome rare. Even just its basic effect being sent to the graveyard with Pop Spell Trap is useful with a card like Mathematician, and its flip effect's also really good. And then there's our first super, the Traveler and Burning Abyss. This card actually didn't see too much play, and it's actually probably the weakest
all the Burning Abyss support. Would have preferred a better super like a Shaddoll Fusion. There's a Seer, a singular Seer, and an ultra rare Doomstar Magician. That's a really disappointing card. This card looks badass, but for the debut of Pendulum Monsters, it's kind of a shitty support card. Phallus and Skarm. And a Squamata. Wow, what a hell of a pack. Getting a lot of holos already. They're not the greatest ones. Felis is okay though, I'll take it. And a Skarm, of course, is great rare.
Wow, maybe I was hyping this setup a little bit too much, because we're almost halfway through the opening, and there hasn't really been that much else to talk about. We have gotten some other strong cards like Monarch Stormforth, a few of the other Shaddolls, Satellar Knights. I think we got a second Skarm. What's notable, though, this is actually our third copy of Shaddol Dragon. That's actually pretty decent. Dragon is spell and trap removal if it's sent to the graveyard, but it's also just a compulse on a flip effect, and it's 1900 attack, so that's not bad either. We also had a copy of Artifact Lancia that debuted in this set as well. This set was just great. Wow. El Shaddol Winda. Are we actually going to pull the Shaddol card? Fourth Shaddol Dragon, by the way, but I don't know. We still need Shaddol Fusion, so that's going to be a bit rough. That would be insane if we could pull it, but I mean, it's still a long way to go. We're on pack 14 now, so let's see what happens, I guess. I suppose this warrants a little bit of discussion. UA Perfect Ace is the rare here, and to be honest, in our format, UAs may not actually be all that bad. We need to wait for a few later sets to get some of their better support, but these cards are actually pretty good. Wow.
Yeah, one of the Yang Zing supers, that's the things you really don't want to hit, because they all got to work in tandem with each other. That's like my first one, that's one of the most bunk supers in the set. Dang, I keep hitting all these bunk hollows, dude. I don't want the Saphira. I have to wait to summon Saphira, I guess, but that's just not really good, dude. And Lancia, I think that's like my third Lancia. Come on, man. That's so troll, dude. Out of all the good archetypes, I keep hitting all the ones that really don't push me forward anywhere. Oh my god, bro. Alright, last 3 packs. Can I get anything redeeming? I've got a pretty good okay Teller package. No Denebs in anything yet. Nothing good there. Delteros is the Ghost Rare, dude. Oh man, the Ghost Rare. I don't have a good Teller Knight package to be able to play with it. That's so troll, dude. Anything good in the last pack? No. Wow. You know what? For one of the greatest sets in Yu-Gi-Oh's history, out of all the holos I got, none of those felt great. It's okay. I think we made up for it with the fact we got a Lone Fire Blossom. 3 Lancias, pretty good to have too. I can't complain. Let's add this to the collection. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, there's a Shaddol Beast. I mean, I guess it's slowly starting to come together. We're still missing out on a few of the Shaddol rares, but if we can just nab like a Shaddol Fusion or 2 in these last couple of packs, we might be able to build the deck. Okay, second Shaddol Beast. I'm liking it, but we still need the Fusion if we want this to work in any sort of capacity. There's a Falco. I mean, the makings of the deck are all here, right? But with only a few packs left, I'm not actually sure if it's going to happen. Alright, you guys, so only a couple of packs left here. If we're able to get the Shaddol Fusion, we could actually go for the strategy, because Hedgehog can search the Fusion, and we can get the Fusion back over and over again with our Shaddol effects, so it's not impossible. Let's go ahead and flip them. Yeah. Of course. Then what is this, like the 5th Shaddol Dragon, or like the 6th at this point? I've lost count, but let's just flip the last pack. I mean, please. I think we've got like 1 super rare this entire time. And it's a Seer. Well, I mean, this is pretty good overall, right? I'm just so bummed out. I was getting the makings of such a great Shaddol core. I mean, I even pulled the Winda! We got the Winda! And we didn't get the Shaddol Fusion to be able to make her... God, that's unfortunate. That sucks so bad, but I mean, I guess that's just part of the progression series and the tension that this causes, is that, like, it's really hard to get something that's very playable at times, although we did get a lot of playable cards. I can't wait to see what Gage pulled out of this set, because there's so many different directions he could go. His deck's already pretty strong, so it's not like he needs the help, but let's go ahead and load up Dueling Book, because I actually need to figure out what I'm doing for this episode.
Alright, boys and girls, here's what we're looking at today. Taking the plant rulers out for another spin, this time with the most important card of the archetype finally plugged in, Lone Fire Blossom. Can't believe I haven't had one of these bad boys for this long, but in fact it feels good to have it, because that really ties our energy together here with Dandy and the Spore and the Glow Bulb. Now we got a generic Searcher, great painful choice target, we're looking fresh. Skill Drain seems like a killer choice in the main deck here. Just gonna shut down any of his lead yoke so I can just poke over it easy enough. And Wing Blast and Compulse are the easy way outs to lead yoke if he wants to keep playing Battle Boxers. The thing is as good as Battle Boxers perform, he could literally be playing anything this episode just because of how many cards were released in this set. There's so many different options options he has. But to make sure, it looks like we have a pretty balanced list to work here. 20 monsters, 10 spells, 10 traps. That totally wasn't intentional too. I think this actually just looks really good. In the side deck, we've got a whole bunch of things to deal with battling monsters and any other XYZ strategy if he chooses to play it. Stingy and Dirge is going to be a hell of a card against Alex. Just being able to reduce levels of all monsters he controls by 1 makes sure he can't go into any rank 4s, which is a big thing. If he isn't prepared with some rank 3s in the extra deck just to, play around Dirge, then he's absolutely screwed. Dice Spoon just hasn't been cutting it, and I kept Fairy Wind in here. We'll put that in if big floodgates that stick around tend to be a problem here. The goings first stuff in the form of Confiscation, Dust Shoot, the Mind Crushes, basic hand-ripping stuff. And then Flying Sea is another big tech card here we got. When Alex normal or specials a monster, I can special him from my hand to his side of the field, and then he can't XYZ summon. There's no really easy way for him to get rid of this Flying Sea too. He's gonna have to crash it into something, or he's just gonna have to wipe his own board with a Dark Hole, or he can tribute a monster over it. But Battling Boxers aren't playing any tribute monsters, which makes this card really, really good. The one thing that I'm a little washing on is the Synchro package here. Now that we've got the Lone Fire, we've got more options. The big thing that I was thinking about, though, is if I banish Lone Fire for Spore, it becomes a 4, and that makes him Starry. So I wondered if it's worth even trying to plug anything else. I was trying to plug a Formula. Am I really going to ever summon the Formula? I don't know. I have a feeling I'd summon the second Starry here before I summon the Formula. That sounds weird to say, but we'll give this a shot. I'm feeling really good about this list in the side deck. I feel like we can conquer whatever Alex wants to play. Let's give it a try and see how we do.
So guys, it's the anniversary of the Progression series, and while I could have played a deck that I've played in the past, I thought I would welcome in Duelist Alliance with something a little bit different. Now, I don't feel super confident with this deck because obviously Lightsworn Shaddoll isn't really the best when you're lacking the best cards of both engines, but I still think there's a little bit of validity to this strategy, and it's something that Gage definitely won't be expecting. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not too sure, but let's go ahead and do the card by card. We're actually playing Baby Chaos Dragons, both Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and White Dragon Wyvern Burster. Both of these are good because they're just a recursive threat that Gage is going to have to churn through, and we're almost always going to be able to summon these because we're going to have our graveyard loaded with all of these other monsters, and so if Gage deals with one, we just get another one. So it's kind of like a Reborn Tengu in a way, and it allows us to have some nice rank 4 Xyz fodder as well, so the cards are overall pretty nice. We also have 2 Chaos Sorcerer. This is like our bomb of the deck, if you want to call it that. We're playing plenty of Lights and Dark, so this should be online most of the time. This is also good for dealing with a lot of Gage's bigger cards. 2 copies of Jane. Jane is back in the main deck. This is no Raiden or no Lila, but it's the next best thing that we have. The important part here is that Jane's effect will in fact trigger the Shaddoll monsters because the milling in the end phase is an effect, and so that's what we're kind of going for here. We don't have Curry Bandit either, so this is pretty much the next best thing we're going to get. We also don't have like Mathematician or anything like that too, so it's not bad, but it's not fantastic. We're obviously still on the Scientist. 2 copies of Raiko, same thing as Jane, except this is actually just removal as well. 1 Sangan, 2 copies of each Shaddoll, except for 1. We're only playing 1 Hedgehog because Hedgehog can get us another Shaddoll if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, but its flip effect isn't very good. 2 Beast is good though because we can draw cards off of it. 2 Dragon is good because it's back for removal and it's a compulse on flip. 2 Falco because it can bring back some of our other Shadolls and enable some plays that way. And 2 copies of Squamata, which is either a Man-Eater bug on flip or sends any of the other Shadolls that we have to the graveyard. So a lot of versatility amongst these 9 monsters here, and if we have something like Foolish Burial or Painful Choice, this is going to get very crazy very quickly. For the spells, 1 Allure of Darkness. We're playing about 12 dark monsters in this deck, so this will allow us to cycle for a couple of cards if need be. Book of Moon, Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, Heavy Storm. 1 for 1 for the Magical Scientist, of course. Painful Choice is just crazy in this deck. Pot of Greed, Raigeki, Snatch Steal, and 1 Super Polymerization. This is the only real way we can summon El Shaddoll Window, which we are playing in the extra deck. We could play Fusion Gate and Terraforming. That was something I was thinking. One of the biggest problems, though, with Fusion Gate specifically is the fact that Fusion Gate actually banishes the cards that you use for Fusion Material, which means the Shaddoll monsters wouldn't get any of their effects, and that's a bit unfortunate because that means we would be investing so many cards into this window. It's not like Gage doesn't have outs to this card, but it is difficult for him to deal with, but I'm not sure if it's worth 3 cards just to do that. I think at that point something like Lead Yoke would actually be a little bit better, but we do have the Super Poly. We're most likely going to be fusing our own monsters, but it is a way for us to make Winda if we absolutely get to that point. I feel like if we get to that point, we're probably going to be winning the game already anyway, but that just might be able to lock it up. And then the traps, Bottomless Compulse, Imperial Order, Royal Oppression, Torrential Tribute, and 3 copies of Vanity's Emptiness, of course. The extra deck is a bunch bunch of stuff that you're already familiar with. I put a few synchros back in because Falco is in fact a tuner, so I put in Crimson Blader because it's good against Dragon Ruler if he still is on that deck, which let's be honest is very likely. One Goyo Guardian, which is probably the most likely candidate of a card that we can make because Falco and any level 4 will be able to go into this, and that's very good. And then I threw Magical Android in here as well because we do have a fair bit of level 3s. It's also a light, so that could actually come up. And then for Xyz, we have Blade Armor Ninja, Karen Gorgon, we have the Cowboy, we have Ragna Zero, Photon Papal Operative, and of course the Shark Fortress for the Magical Scientist OTK. And then for the extra deck, 2 Breaker for spell and trap removal, 3 DD Crow, which might come in if we're going second. We have 2 Kaiku for getting stuff out of the grave, 2 Mobius and a Ryza paired with the newly released Monarch Stormforth. This is a direction I could go if I feel like I just want to out some of his big cards, because there really is almost zero way to interact with Stormforth, and it's very, very funny just to go this. Sack for Mobius, sack for Ryza. We're also playing Beast as well, so we could just tribute set Beast and then just get it ready for next turn to draw 2 and pitch 1. So we do have some tribute fodder, and I think it's actually pretty okay. Now that I think about it, I do also have a Jinzo, and I think I'm going to throw that in here as well. I'll just cut out like a Deep Pro, I guess, just to give us a few more tribute fodder targets, and then that way we also then are able to put some more pressure on the field at the same time. I think that could be pretty nice. 2 Smashing Ground if we feel that we need to deal with some of his larger threats, which he is playing Dragon Ruler, so he does play a lot of bigger cards. And then I do have a Fiendish Chain in here just because I needed space in the main deck, and this was probably the weakest of the trap lineup, so I threw it in the side deck for when I know I'm going first, just so I can have a little bit of extra insurance. So honestly, I don't really know what's going to happen this episode. I just wanted to play something really different, and I think this is probably as different as it can get based off of my polls. I really wanted to play just full-on Shaddoll, but we don't have any fusion way to get to it. Maybe next episode we can pull El Shaddoll fusion. We did get the Winda, so I mean, there is still hope for us to get there. Even Nef Shaddoll fusion's like a secret rare in a later set, but that's gonna do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait to see what Gage brought to the table, but let's not make you guys wait any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel. Gage, I cannot believe it is the 1-year anniversary of the Progression series.
Isn't that so crazy?
It feels like we just started this, like, yesterday, and here we are on Duelist Alliance, one of, if not the greatest set in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. I'm so excited for this episode. We've been talking this up for so long, and it's been so much fun over the past year, buddy. I'm so glad I picked you as my co-host for this, because I don't think I would have had it every other way.
Oh, thanks, bud. I'm just excited we had all the fans able to tune in every week with us, dude. Can you admit, man, every week we've been pumping these things out. Every week everybody's come back and gone to watch me get clobbered here. Hopefully I can break that streak, dude.
We haven't missed a week.
We have
52 weeks.
We haven't, dude. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's considering it's us too. Of all.
Yeah, dude. I have a hard time committing to anything, bro. You're lucky you got me for a whole year.
Okay, how do you feel about your polls overall?
My polls? I don't really want to spoil too much, dude. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, okay.
God.
Fair. I can respect that. I mean, let's just get into it then. I know you and I have just been
I'm just itching to play, man. This set has been a long time coming. Tachyon Galaxy was already a huge high. But before that, it was what? Phantom Darkness, maybe? Was there any things before that? Long time before we saw anything.
Yeah.
It's not every day you get to play with a life-changing set, like a game-changing set. It's crazy. So.
I agree. Let's go and shout out the patron. It is Woody. Thank you so much for the support. And wow, I'm actually going first for once.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I almost don't know what to do. I guess I'll go first. I mean, it seems to be the right